Hello, it's me. Long time no see. Why is that? Do you ever just lose your sense of self and start questioning your worth to other people and indeed to the entire planet? Very that. But it's Christmas. There's a world outside your window, and it's a world of contamination. Since we can't travel, since at the moment a lot of us are stuck in our homes, perhaps not necessarily able to go and see family, certainly not able to take the trips abroad that we so often like to do, I decided, what a nice way to end this rectum of a year. Take the travel to the kitchen. Yeah, 3 lovely recipes from different places around the world. I'm gonna do a kugelhopf, a stollen, and a Japanese Christmas cake. First things first, I need to go to the shops, so let's mask up. Listen, so the plan was I was going to do a shopping montage, but then it's fucking cold and I got distracted by the festive cheeses. So here we are. These are all the ingredients for all 3 bakes, so that's good, isn't it? It was a fun shopping trip though, and I got myself a candle and this seasonal spatula. So I'm starting with the kugelhopf because that has to go in the fridge overnight. Forward planning. Put the raisins in a small bowl and rum and leave them to soak overnight. I've already done that. Here they are. I picked these raisins because, you know, they were colourful and festive, and I added a splash more rum than suggested in the recipe to make it colourful and, you know, festive. Now, put the yeast. Okay, so when you're at the shops, you know. I had a thought while I was out. Instead of starting with the kugelhopf, because that needs to do its thing overnight, I'm gonna begin by making the Japanese Christmas cake because that only takes a bit of time and I can have that tonight. But I need to get a shift on because I am going to see a film, would you believe? I'm gonna see Mank at the Curzon in Mayfair. It's back open, I'm so happy. Yeah, it's back open. Go fuck yourself. I don't really know what I'm doing. When have I ever? This is a recipe from japanscent.com. It's in the description. Do you remember when in this season of Bake Off, they were like, cool, we're doing Japan Week. And my group chat with Tom and Chloe and Charlie and Amy, we generally tried to bake stuff on theme for the week. You know, so that when you're watching, you don't get jealous, right? And when it was Japanese, we were like, oh, cool, exciting, what's it gonna be? Chloe made mochi. What fools we were. Japanese Week ended up being like, the way I described it was a good idea at the production meeting, but no one really thought it through. And I was like, oh, I wonder what kind of things they will bake, because I didn't really know anything about Japanese baking. So I Googled it, and as I was Googling, I found this. And look at this picture, and tell me this doesn't look like the most fucking delicious thing you've ever seen in your life. And how festive. It's the colours of the Japanese flag, it's also the colours of, like, Santa. In theory, it's quite a simple cake. I meant to film an alternate angle, but I completely forgot because I'm, you know, awful at my job. I feel like I'm on telly. I've lit the thing and I'm trying a second angle. We're absolutely raising the stakes. This recipe uses a double boiler technique to ensure the cake has a wonderful lightness. Oh, Jesus Christ. What does a double boiler look like? Fill up a bowl with warm water and set aside. You're warming up. I'm happy about that. Crack the eggs into another bowl. That bowl? Yes, big bowl, big bowl. Probably fine. Paul Hollywood likes to crack them one at a time with his one hand. Do I dare? Two-handed. I've had success. Okay, it was less successful, and I've just got 2 eggy hands. Crack the eggs in the traditional fashion. Whisk, preferably with an electric hand whisk if you have one to hand. Place this mixture over the warm water and continue to whisk thoroughly until the mixture becomes almost white. Oh my god. I imagine there'll be a ribbon stage. I've read about it in a book. Okay, it's not working. I wonder if the water needed to be hot. Ah, probably not. It's starting to leave a trail, you see. Nearly. I don't want to do it too much longer. I'm just gonna go with that, right? It's almost white. That's probably fine. Thank you for your service. I've seen versions of this cake that have butter in it. There was a nice lady with a dog and hers had butter, and she put the bowl in another bowl, like within a bowl, which I thought was peculiar, but she seemed nice and she had a dog, so I don't want to question it. But we're going with this one because it's from the Japan Center. And if you can't trust Japan Center, milk and honey. Sift the flour and baking powder into the bowl. Oh, it's like snow. Because if we just whipped a shit ton of air into that egg mixture, we need to make sure there's air between the flour particles. And then I'm going to use a seasonal spatula to fold that through. When all the elements are mixed, you're ready to bake! Don't want to go from too much of a height because I don't want to, again, get rid of all of that. It's fizzing. I don't love that it's fizzing. A lot of flour had made its way to the bottom and not in cup. That's not a good sign. Well, it appears to have done the opposite of risen. That is, as you can see, a beautiful half-pipe shape. It's not looking good, gang. It's not supposed to undulate in such a fashion. Out you come. If I just... Yeah. I mean, the exposed bit feels quite light. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see what's happening here. Well, that's flour, so we've got this. Would I say it's a cake? No. Take the cooled sponge cake and cut it in half horizontally. Yeah, probably won't do that. Oh, Jesus Christ. It looks diseased. My theory of the case is, and I wrote this in my book, if you fuck up a recipe, it'll still taste good. Because it's cake. Shall we explore that notion? What it wants me to do is whip some cream and top it with strawberries. So what we're going to do is make a deconstructed Japanese Christmas cake. And I'm going to enjoy a slice of it while I watch a Netflix Christmas film. Because no matter how badly I did here, someone got paid a lot of money to make those Christmas films. So I figured out what went wrong. You know, I sifted in the flour very diligently and I folded it in also diligently so as not to get rid of any of the air that had been whipped into the egg mixture. Well, I didn't lose any of the air that had been whipped into the egg mixture. I also didn't incorporate any of the flour. So there were just like pockets of flour throughout. You know, I've been baking for a while. It's not what's supposed to happen. But I would say that the sheer power of cream and strawberries is such that this still looks good. Am I going to eat this whole plate? Well, I mean, it's here, so... It's a new day. Yes, it is. Before I went to bed last night, I put together the kugelhopf because it had to rise in the fridge. The recipe said I should make up a little yeast mixture with dried yeast and some water, which smelled great. Am I peculiar for thinking that smells nice? Then that went in my mixer with flour, eggs and milk that had been whisked together, and I let the mixer do its thing for about 10 minutes before adding butter, which had been beaten with sugar and lemon zest. Which, by the way, if you're ever sad, zest a fucking lemon, mate. It smells like sunshine. There is none out there. It is grey as school porridge. But zest a fucking lemon. Where was I? Oh, yeah. And then I had to pour it out and put it in the fridge to rise, in theory, overnight. Problem is, then I went and watched videos of other people making kugelhopfs, and their dough did not look anything like mine. So we're going to take a deep breath, go to the fridge, and see what's happened in a minute, because it's really warm under here. Well then, can't say it's risen as much as I thought it would, and I can't say it feels like a dough, but I can say that I'm here. And I believe in the power of Christmas. What I'm supposed to do now is work in the lovely rum-soaked raisins and these lightly toasted almonds. We're gonna try it. I'm supposed to chop these almonds, so let me do just that. Now, I must say, this is a lovely kitchen owned by my friend and compatriot, Edith. However, it's not really stocked with stuff. Like, I brought my smeg and I brought my bowls and all of that stuff. But this knife, I'm gonna have to cut these almonds individually, because she doesn't really have utensils. And I keep threatening to buy her some kitchenware. She has one set of knives and they, quote, came with the flat. Do I care enough to chop? Yes, I do, because if I don't, they'll all just sink. I have a feeling this is going to be really cold and deeply unpleasant for the middle of winter. What I would normally think that you do, / what I've seen on Bake Off, tip the dough out, put the raisins on it, and then in the kneading process, that's how you get them all in there. But I don't fully trust that this dough is kneadable. It isn't. The thing is, it's because it's yeast, right? And yeast is terrifying as a concept. I tried to find like traditional, oh my God, it's so cold. I tried to find like traditional recipes and they were also like, yeah, just use that yeast. And I'm like, what yeast? What are you talking about? Where does that come from? And then I found one that was like, had alternatives for 3 different types of yeast. But I'm now thinking too much liquid was put in. This doesn't feel, this feels more, Right, this is my tin. It is a bundt tin. Kugelhopf have specific tins from what I've read, although apparently my reading has done fuck all. So this is for bundt cakes, and I bought it because it's the one Nigella has. I love the really like knife edge lines they've got going on. It's a beautiful tin, and I've made beautiful cakes in it in the past. This is how I know it has gone wrong. The woman in the video I watched last night literally like kneaded it out and then made a ring and then lifted the whole ring and put it in. This is absolutely a batter rather than a dough. Paul Hollywood is digging a grave in which to spin. I would like to personally apologise to the entire Alsace region. I'm gonna be completely honest, guys. I've had a peculiar day. I don't know what it is. I think that the nights drawing in really affect me. It's the lack of sunshine. So I made a point of getting up and going for a walk earlier on so that I could feel whatever strains of vitamin D managed to make it through the sun's face mask. The big grey clouds. Now my cake's going wrong. It's not that it's just that it's the baking that counts. I don't know, normally I feel so festive and I have the tree evening and I have all my friends around to put up the tree. We will put up a tree within my household, but like even putting on a Christmas music playlist feels a little bit forced. Like I went to get the coffee earlier on and I put on Gwen Stefani's Christmas album, which, by the way, is a sleeper. It's surprisingly, like, give it a chat, it's good, but it just sort of feels a bit forced. And then here I am with my Christmas bakes, and it's almost like the bakes are going wrong because they're like, we know your heart's not really in this. They need that festive magic, and I'm not giving enough to them. Anyway, I have to put a clean tea towel on top of this and let it rise again. Then in it's gonna go, and we'll see what happens. Quite genuinely, this doesn't look too bad. It looks baked, at the very least. Like, it's a bit hot. Right, now I have to sort of try and turn it out. What we'll do is just... Will you come out, please? Don't be a git about it. Yes! Come through. Okay, that doesn't feel like anything's... Oh! Oh! Yeah, okay. This is not at all what the picture looked like. It's very dark on the outside. Perhaps that's to do with the fact that it's the tin. But it's, look, it's got the, it's like, it's, oh. Okay, yeah, okay. You better work, bitch. Good for you. Now you have to go on the cooling rack to cool completely, and then I'll have a slice of you later. I'm quite pleased. So I had a shower, made a cup of tea, and I'm gonna watch some, and I'm gonna have a slice of this. If you don't know what that is, that's going to be a very peculiar experience for you, and I apologise. So I've got out one of the knives that came with the house. I'm going to be honest, when I prod it, it feels a bit... Can you hear that? I don't think a cake should be able to, like, be used as a musical instrument. Okay, here we are. Let's see you. I mean, it's not raw. Yeah. Alright. Oh, it said to dust it with icing sugar, so shall I do that? Probably supposed to... Festive. This bit should really be this colour, you know?
Hi, I'm the scab that fell off that girl Vanessa's knee on the bus in 3rd grade and she ate it. Tricks in the towel. And I'm a grateful cornucopia filled with lunch meat, Katya. And welcome to the show where we talk about whatever we want.
Because it's our show, and not yours.
Thanksgiving edition. Yeah, what are you grateful for right off the bat?
This tastes of nothing. I think it's the lack of festive spirit. The fruit is nice. Am I supposed to have it with like butter, like toasted with butter? It's like a void of flavour. I tried. Now, I don't wish to be dramatic, but I do sort of feel like if this stollen goes wrong, I'll never feel Christmas spirit again, and I am once again asking you not to call me a piss boiler. I bet this recipe, when it called for apple juice, didn't sort of think shitty apple juice, but rather like that lovely cloudy stuff. Oh well. This recipe is from BBC Good Food, and they never tend to steer me wrong. With the last two, I've sort of tried to trust my gut, and my gut has been wrong. I'm just going to commit to following whatever the recipe says. If I think it's almost done, it probably isn't. The other thing about this is I've read that it tastes better the longer you leave it, so I'm thinking of saving this for Christmas Day. Leave the results of this video as a bit of a mystery, and you'll have to tune into my Instagram to find out whether or not it worked well. Which, if nothing else, is good brand synergy. Now this one specifically says yeast from sachet in the recipe, so... Oh, that was fun. Now just to sort of leave that to do its thing. slightly better about this than I did about the last one. It's definitely risen. Before I get on to the kneading hype, let's have a quick chat about ingredients. So going in the stollen are dried fruit and mixed peel, which I've soaked in hot water for a while. I feel like I could have soaked it in something else for a bit of flavour, like alcohol. Actually, that said, also going in is this, which is marzipan. And this has a very intense flavour, which I think would make it too much. I'm not the world's biggest marzipan fan. Marzistan. That's the country where they produce almonds. I don't know what it is, because I like frangipan, I like it in a croissant, but marzipan for some reason is too, like, sickly. It's almost got that, like, nasal, like, it's like, yeah, not keen. However, that's what the recipe said, and I don't want to get in trouble. So the marzipan I bought was this one. Festive edition, it says. Fresh and zesty flavour that cuts through the rich marzipan. So we'll see. And it says in lovely cursive font, that's why you can taste the difference. And it's vegan. Who knew? Some whole blanched almonds. I haven't toasted these because the recipe didn't say to, but I can't help but feeling that would be a good decision if you wanted. And then 3 spices. These are very festive spices. We have some ground cloves, which... This is like the ultimate festive spice for me. This is what you'll get in a candle. You stick whole cloves and oranges when you want to mull wine. I've made a ham before and like studded the whole thing with them. It does smell ever so slightly like HP sauce. It's probably in there. I don't know. Don't quote me on that in case I'm wrong. Then we have, it wanted ground allspice, but I couldn't find any. So I went with ground nutmeg, which in high enough quantities, nutmeg is a hallucinogen. Just so that you know, the more you know. And finally, ground cinnamon. Now, here's some trivia. There are 2 types of cinnamon. There's cassia and Ceylon. Both of them come from the same tree. Some people will try and say that cassia is fake cinnamon. That's wrong. It's just the more sort of like sweet one. That's why it's used in a lot of baking, at least to my understanding. Here's the situation though. Sainsbury's always used to sell cassia cinnamon. Then they changed it to, I think it's Ceylon cinnamon, but they specified this one is cassia and they don't specify what the other one is. And to my nose, the other one smells medicinal and like not very tasty. I've used it before and it just... So I don't even think it's Ceylon. I'm not really too sure. I don't trust it, basically. Maybe I'm wrong, but Sainsbury's don't seem to know either. So if you're going to Sainsbury's, make sure you get the ground sweet cinnamon. If you can't find that in Sainsbury's, go to another shop and see if you can make sure it's at least cassia. So now what I have to do is lightly flour this surface, which I always hate to do because thinning up is an absolute nightmare. Okay, I'm gonna derobe using seasonal spatula in place of a dough scraper. Come on, darling, out you come. Look a little bit like a pale venom. Whoa, nearly there, nearly. Come on. You're out. Good. Pinch of cinnamon, nutmeg, and then a pinch of cloves. And while I'm there, I'm also gonna add the almonds. Squish everything into it. Oh, this is nice. Fold you over a little bit. Oh! Look at me go. This is delightful. Oh, now I'm feeling festive. Okay, good. So now, excuse me. I'm just gonna knead the dough around until it gathers all of the fruit up. I don't know if I want to go like hard on the kneading to develop, because obviously with like certain breads, you're supposed to like boof it around a little bit, but this is also slightly cakey. It's like an enriched dough bread cake. I don't understand what any of these things are. However, this feels good to me. This is lovely. I have not been a dough person, but I think I might be now. Like, I encourage all of you to make a dough just for the experience of just pushing. It was like pressing a very nice pillow. I have to roll it into a sausage shape. And then I have to put it on a baking sheet, cover it with a towel, and leave it to rise again. And I love that the recipe specifies a clean tea towel, as if someone's like, hey, pass us that fucking disease-ridden rag that you've left on the floor. Come on, little... Oh, it's like a magic trick. It's like, oh. Actually, let's do it like a magic trick. Ta-da! That has risen! Oh, look at it go. I'd sleep on that. Shortly after putting my stollen in the oven, I ordered a McDonald's, and then when the man arrived with it, he rang the doorbell twice. I couldn't find my keys. Then the light bulb in the hallway burst and I slipped down the stairs, so my fingers are 3 times the size. And, you know, if you're squeamish, look away now. Ow. An evening of two halves. Because the bake looked good. What have we learned from this experience? Well, first I've learned that I wish they would make masks like this shape because some of us have beards and like having to cut it is never a fun experience. I also watched the film Holiday. Basically, I've learned that people are so cynical these days that the rom-com is so anti the notion of rom that it also goes against the com. I want to write a Netflix Christmas film wherein the Netflix Christmas film writers are confronted with the ghosts of their Christmas past, and maybe they can start feeling again. We've learned to follow the recipes. We've learned that being too cautious doesn't always work. We've learned that I can make videos if I try. That's nice for my career in business, isn't it? 2020 has been a peculiar year, and it is finishing with a peculiar Christmas. If you don't feel festive, that's okay. Try and take solace in the little things. I enjoyed the process of baking. I enjoyed the process of watching terrible films. And I will enjoy the process of engaging in the comments with you below. Whatever you're doing with your Christmas, or indeed not doing, I hope you're taking care of yourself. Unlike me, Christmas is a time, above all else, for kindness. And I think it is important this year, more than ever, to practice that kindness inwardly, as well as outwardly. Thanks for watching. Thank you for sticking with me for a whole year through all of the upheaval. Telling jokes on social media has been a small saving grace. And another thing this year has taught us is that sometimes you have to roll with the punches and make the best of a situation. So here's to a lousy Christmas and a crappy New Year. Be good to yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching. Out. Guys, I did it. I did it. Did the thing. I filmed the whole video. Whee!